There's no easy way out.
Some people think, well, I don't have a brand, I just have a business. Well, you do have a brand, and your brand does mean something to your customers. You know, I say a brand is a combination of who you think you are and what your customers know you are. And hopefully who you think you are and what your customers think you are match. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the No Easy Way Out podcast. My name is Tony Nash. I am your host, and we are coming to you as always from the Woodworth building in beautiful downtown Owasso, home to my company, AZ Branding Solutions, where we help grow your brand from A to Z. At AZ, we are a one-stop branding solution. We have a team of creative branding team of creative branding experts, and they're going to help you connect your brand to your buyer. That's really what we do here. So we want to work with you. We want to help you grow your brand. But speaking of brands, today we are going to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers, the lesser of the Los Angeles teams. And they just underwent a huge rebrand of themselves, a complete rebrand. So I brought in my fellow basketball aficionado and our video / creative everything guy and my oldest son, Micah Nash. Micah, welcome to the show, man.
Welcome. Thank you.
Ready to talk about this LA Clippers rebrand?
I think it's a topic that's very interesting, and I'm interested in it, so I'm excited to get into it.
It's interesting, and you're interested in it, so that's really good.
It's not just interesting to me.
It's interesting, and you're interested in it. Well, let's talk about it. So the LA Clippers, there's a lot of buzz going around about this new logo. Of course, they're building this state-of-the-art stadium, which is going to be nuts. It's going to have some really cool things in it. It's going to have virtual reality options. It's going to have full restaurants behind the suites. The screen they're going to have around the top is like going to give you a full immersive view of the whole stadium and the basketball game. So it's going to be really cool. So to kick it, I think it's called the Intuit Dome. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So to kick it all off, they've decided that they're going to rebrand the entire logo. Mm-hmm. The Clippers have actually changed their
entire
logo.
team, not even just their logo.
Yeah, the uniforms, the core, everything. And the team, the Clippers have actually changed their logo more than any other team in the NBA.
Interesting.
They're never have been a winning franchise. They're kind of like the Detroit Lions of the NBA. They just never win. Of course, all the real LA fans are usually Lakers fans.
Right.
There are some diehard Clippers fans out there. But they're actually having a really good season this year.
Yes.
And they have some really good players, some really good talent. They have a better record than the Los Angeles Lakers.
Which is not surprising. They do have a very stacked roster.
Micah does not like LeBron James, by the way.
They have made some good moves. But yeah, they're having great progress right now. Not just on the basketball side, but also internally with their brand.
So Steve Ballmer took over the team.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, 2021 or something like that? Early in the 2020s, a few years ago, he took over the team. And Steve Ballmer is a crazy guy. Do you remember what Steve Ballmer is from? Do you know how we all learned who Steve Ballmer?
It's the developers.
All sweaty
in your head all day.
Totally high, strung out on cocaine, just trying to get a crowd excited about we need more developers. You got to show that clip right now.
We'll definitely add that in there.
Developers. The key to .NET, the key to industry transformation, the key to success is developers, 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 developers. Yes.
So that's how you know Steve Ballmer. If you never heard the name before, I guarantee you've seen the clip. The viral sensation. If you've ever seen him,
it's going to be stuck in your head all day once we show you.
Yeah, and if you've ever seen him on the sidelines of a Clippers game, he goes nuts. I mean, he is a crazy fan. He loves it. Big basketball fan. And so we knew he was going to do some big things. Obviously, he's one of the wealthiest dudes in the world. Mm-hmm. So, his big Microsoft fortune. We knew he was going to do some crazy things. And so this arena number 1 is great. But now he's kind of put into works this new rebrand and trying to give the Clippers a whole new look. So let's talk about that logo here for a minute. As branding experts, as people who live in the world of branding every day, let's talk about our thoughts on this logo. Initial thought, and we'll get into the breakdown of what the logo looks like. I'm not a huge fan of the logo.
No, not me
We'll talk about why here in a second. But I do want to praise the Lakers for shaking things up. A lot of times when What did I say?
The Lakers.
I also want to praise the Lakers. No,
We
I
don't
want
need to praise the
to give a
Lakers.
shout out to the Clippers for shaking things up. A lot of times when you're struggling to get market share, you're struggling to get eyes, you're struggling to get attention, sometimes rebranding is a good way to go about it. So I love the effort. I love the plan. I love that they're doing something big.
It gives a fresh taste in people's mouth. Even just talking from the purely basketball side of it, they've always had a reputation of kind of the bad teams. Not saying they haven't had good players, because they definitely have had their share of good teams, but have never really succeeded in the way they're supposed to. So I think it's great to have that new thought in people's minds with this whole rebrand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it gives people just a new excitement. Whenever you come out with a new logo, there's going to be some people that love it, and then there's going to be the purists who love the retro, who hate it. Whenever the Pistons have done a rebrand, I've never been a huge fan of it. I always go back to the original, but it's not even the original. It's to when I was a kid. Everyone kind of has a nostalgia for their team. And but a brand can be powerful. Like a logo that somebody identifies with can say everything to a person about that brand that they follow. And so when you change it, it doesn't impact people.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because some people kind of don't know that they like it until it's gone, such as classic retro logos. Like when those were the logo, they're like, okay, we need a new logo. And then years down the road, they rebrand and go back to the old logo that they had.
Because they realized
they love that one, even though in the moment you didn't think they loved it. But it's
Phoenix
that
Suns did that.
Nostalgia,
the Utah Jazz are all the way back to their original logo now after several with the mountains, and people didn't get it, and now they're just back to their old logo because they realized that's what resonated with people.
Right.
And sometimes a rebrand can be a massive success, and sometimes it can be a massive failure.
Yeah.
We're still, the jury's out on what this will be for the Clippers, but I applaud them for at least doing something and trying something. Obviously, the timing of it with the arena and with all the buzz, they're a playoff team now. They have several All-Stars on their team: Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. They got some big names there, so they're getting some clout that way. They're taking the social media world by storm, and so it's a good time, I think, to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it definitely, like I said, gives that fresh new taste. And I think part of the reason a lot of people like to go back to those classic logos before is because usually those teams that had those logos were associated with winning.
With a player.
Or a certain winner. But the Clippers don't necessarily have a lot of that, history and nostalgia.
I mean, who's the greatest Clipper of all time?
We think of like prime Blake Griffin, probably.
I mean, that's like not even that long ago, right? I mean, it's probably like a long time to you, but yeah. I mean, you think way back to Clippers, and
Chris Paul was decent too.
Who did they have? Yeah. So never been known for really being a franchise that brings up big superstars again, like the Lions of the NBA.
Right.
Now I do like the fact that they in their statement jerseys they brought back the red. The red is
that's a nice
color.
touch.
But they also brought back the powder blue, which from back in the 70s, I mean, they were like the powder blue team.
Yeah.
You haven't really seen that from them in a while, unless they're doing like a retro night. But they brought that back, so I think that's a nice touch. I think people are going to like that. The people that resonate. Thank you with the retro. I think they're going to really.
And they've gotten rid of the black, so that helps them stand out as well. Because I feel like a lot of teams have those black alternate jerseys, but they've kind of gotten rid of that. So.
Yeah, I mean, black is clean, but it really doesn't go with their brand, and so they've eliminated that. I think it's going to be good for them. I like on the statement jerseys. I like the nautical flag thing that they did down the side.
That's a great nod.
But I learned some things about this logo that I didn't know about the Clippers. I really never even knew what the Clippers were, but apparently Clippers is a clipper ship.
Yep.
I had no idea it had anything to do with boats or ships.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always known the term clipper ships because I'm relatively out of high school, and that's something that we learned in high school. But I never actually put the two together of, the Clippers basketball team.
I never really thought about what clippers were.
I was thinking it was a clipper, like hair clippers.
Oh, you thought
or
it was
something.
the hair clipper?
I mean, I knew that's what it was. I knew that wasn't, what it was, but that's kind of where
that was your association with the word. Yeah, I really honestly never sat down and thought, what is a clipper?
Right. I mean, it's an odd term.
It's weird. You see a lot of teams have logos that are odd. Like to me, like the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Such like a non-scary, ferocious bird, but that's what they picked.
The Knickerbockers, the Knicks.
Yeah, but then you have the Clippers, which is literally just a boat,
right?
Which I know LA and the port, you see all the Clipper ships coming in. But so from the educational standpoint, I'm going to pull up some of these logos here up on the screen so we can kind of see.
Yeah, let's break these down.
What we're working with here.
Let's break these down. It's always helpful to see the breakdown because to the naked eye that hasn't put much creativity into it, there's a lot of easy ways to judge it. But
yeah, I mean, so from the primary, from the educational aspect, it has a ship in there, which was the first time I ever associated any kind of boat or nautical life with the Los Angeles Clippers. So I guess from an educational standpoint, it's good that now you know what a Clipper is.
Well, let's break down that boat even. I mean,
it's not a Clipper ship.
First glance at that looks like a massive yacht, cruise ship. Like,
and a Clipper ship is like a sailboat.
Right. I mean, Clipper ship is a specific ship. It's not just, any type of boat. It was a very specific old-timey Clipper ship, which was mostly used for speed. Yachts aren't built for speed. So that's...
Yeah, it comes from a ship from the mid-1800s. Yeah. And that ship right there was not around in the mid-1800s. That's Steve Ballmer's yacht right there. He said, hey, take a picture of my yacht and put it. It's got to be what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of confusion for me looking at the ship because those top 3 bars of the ship, they somewhat looked like,
sails.
The sails. So I could see where that was almost. Yep. But then also you take a second glance, it looks like the levels of a yacht or a cruise ship.
Yeah,
so
honestly, at first glance to me, you don't see sails. At first glance, you see a yacht or a cruise ship.
For sure.
At second glance, looking close, you can say, okay, I can see maybe where that sails.
Possibly.
Then you have the side sails there. It's cool how they incorporated a basketball into the, what do you call that, the bow?
Into the bow. Yeah, see, that's something that I didn't even notice until I looked at the breakdown. I think that's something they need to make more apparent if they were to make some adjustments to it.
So they introduced it, and then it's got a compass. The C becomes a compass, which is kind of a cool, it's creative.
Yeah.
It's certainly creative.
I honestly, looking at, we have on our screen, which you will as well, have the different secondary and primary logos they have here. And this partial C logo with the compass here, I'm actually not hating too much. I'm liking the style of that more than the actual global logo.
I hate that just because I think it's creative. It doesn't look like a basketball logo. Which
I think none of them looks like a basketball logo. So
my favorite is the secondary A, the LA, just the LA by itself. It's clean. Yeah. I love the secondary B, the Clippers. That's retro. That's classic. It got the cursive font. I love that. There. To me, I would just say, I think the logo's trying to do too much.
For sure.
Many times we'll get a client that will call us and they want their logo to visually represent everything that they do.
Right.
So they, they're a concrete worker, so they want concrete in the logo. They want a trowel. They want a bucket that has cement in it. They want a cement mixer. They want a cement trunk pulling up to the logo. They want to throw everything into the logo. And to me, a logo, a brand mark, should not necessarily say everything you do. It should be a good visual representation of your company. But so I think somebody really, threw, the compass, the sails, the yacht, the basketball, the sea, the colors, they put all of it into a logo. But to me, I just think it's a tad busy. It's trying to do too much.
Well, and even thinking logically, if it's on a basketball uniform or on a sports team uniform, you're mostly looking at those as first glance, especially if a player's wearing that on the uniform, they're going to be darting down the court. Now, I know they have other applications for it, but still, it's something that's
I don't have a picture of it, but on the basketball shorts, it's not on the jersey. They have it on the shorts. It doesn't look like I pulled up a picture of the shorts, but they do put it on the shorts, which is a cool place for it.
Yeah.
But logo. To me, it just doesn't say basketball.
It definitely does not. And
if I just saw that logo without the words Los Angeles Clippers, I would never think that's a basketball logo. So
it's like a board short type.
Our professional opinion is creative.
Yeah.
Good job with the color, paying homage to the origin. It educates people. Those are all good things. I just personally, don't like the execution of it. Yeah. I think it's too much. We say here in the office all the time, art is subjective. The beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and the same thing with graphic art. So two people could look at a logo and one says that's beautiful, the other says that's terrible. Who's right?
Right.
The same thing with a piece of art. You go to an art gallery, we both look at a painting. I'm like, I don't get it. You think it's making me cry. Who's the right person? And so, although I don't particularly love it, there's probably a lot of people that will like it.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem for me when I first saw it was it's not a basketball logo. That was my initial thought on it. I know they do have the little basketball marks on the bow, but that's not something that stands out initially when you look at it. Now, looking at their uniforms, I do love the nods and the theme of the Clipper and the nautical theme that they have with that, like the subtle nod on the side of the jersey.
Sides. Yep, very cool.
The meeting there is very, very cool.
Well, they did something cool with the court in that they lined up the compass with the center core of the basketball court that apparently it points perfectly due north.
Oh, wow.
Even the way they built the stadium, like the center court line
Yeah.
with the logo, and the top part of the compass is actually pointing perfectly due north,
I also noticed
which
that.
I think is a very cool thing.
I also noticed the part that points due north is also pointing at the N in the Los Angeles word. So that is also another cool nod.
Correct. So the N in Angeles is obviously looks like an N for north of a compass, and it goes right up, points at the NBA, and that line points perfectly due north. So that was well thought out. I mean,
I saw
it's something that most people will never know.
Right.
But when you see that, like, that's really cool.
Right.
That's an awesome thing that
I
they
saw
did.
someone comment and said that it looks like someone is pointing a sniper at a yacht, and that is kind of a funny representation because it does kind of
It's
look
in
like
the
crosshairs
Yeah.
aiming right down the
I
bow.
can see that. Like, someone's getting ready to take the
Yeah.
ship out. Yeah. So, I mean, I think overall, there's some really cool things about it. I think what they did with the court, what they did with the uniforms.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really neat. I
Even-
love the Jordan red Los Angeles. To me, that is such a clean uniform.
Yeah.
To me, the two others, they don't look much different from what they have now. But I love that. And then I love on the elastic band how the Jordan brand one says Clips, the other one says LA. I think the uniforms are sweet.
Yeah.
I
agree.
really think they did a good job with the uniforms. It's just really, for me, it's the logo that leaves me a little,
I agree.
wanting more.
Yeah.
Or maybe wanting less.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a better way to say it.
And I think going back to what you were talking about the court, I think an interesting aspect they have about the stadium is, have you heard about this new part they're talking about, the wall that's behind the home court basket? Have you heard about this?
The it's
wall.
only Clippers fans.
Yeah, so it's only Clippers fans allowed. It's so many thousand seats, and while that's a great thing for the stadium, not just for the players to see when they're playing, but also thinking about they have this new rebrand, and they're going to have all these players that are required to wear Clippers merch in that section. Imagine how much more.
Fans.
Yes, Clippers fans, and
Yeah.
then you're only allowed to wear Clippers merch as well. So I mean, imagine how much more sales are going to be driving towards their new gear.
Sure.
with
Yeah.
that.
I mean, what they can do for promos and giveaways, but even pushing and selling merch. So they're going to have a wall right behind the visitor side that is only Clippers fans.
Only Clippers fans allowed,
And
which is
they have to wear merch, which
crazy.
is a really cool idea.
Yeah.
We'll see how well it gets executed. Hopefully they can sell it out enough to make sure it's full. You
Right.
hate to see an empty section there.
I'd love to see the process of evaluating who's a Clippers fan and who's not
Yes.
in that
yes.
section.
Yeah, and I mean, how many people are going to say they're a Clippers fan, get in there, and then halfway through the game, rip off and show a Lakers shirt or something?
Yeah, true.
Probably get escorted out by Steve Ballmer himself,
Yes.
yelling "developers, developers, developers, developers." So let's kind of give our opinion here. Then let's critique the logo. As far as the global logo, what are your thoughts? This is what what we have up here is the global logo, meaning
Yes.
this is the main primary logo.
Yeah. So
What are your thoughts?
I the initial thoughts are it's not a basketball logo, and that's probably the most standout thing to me. I think as far as the logo itself, I don't hate the design of the overall theme of it. I think it'd be great for a nautical themed something or other.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good logo. I just think it's not a basketball logo. I think there's definitely too much going on. I think adding the point of you have the compass and you also have the ship, which doesn't look like a Clipper ship. You also have the sea. You also have a little bit of a basketball knot on the bottom of it. It's just too much trying to throw into one.
Too much. Yeah.
It's like find your niche there.
And I'm exactly with you. I mean, we've talked about it throughout the episode here, but to me, like I said, it's not clearly a basketball logo.
No.
I think sometimes simple is better. Simplicity is nice. That's one of the things I do like about modern logos is they're cleaner, they're simpler. Some of the old retro logos, and we're going to talk about our favorite logos of all time. Some of the retro logos are a little busy, which I know resonate with some people. Not always my favorite. I do like a nice, simple, clean logo. But I think when it comes to a sports team, you can get kind of carried away with it and get crazy, and it can be fun.
Right.
So again, I think there are people that will like this. I think some people are going to think it's great. But I guess we'll see. Overall, I think, obviously we're nitpicking here. Like you said, I think what you said was good. It is a good logo.
Yeah.
It's not like a hideous logo. Like that's amateur. You can tell a professional branding agency designed this. They put a lot of thought. The details are impeccable. The nods to different things throughout the organization's history are very, very cool.
Yeah.
But I think overall the execution of it as a basketball logo, I'm going to give it a B-.
Yeah. And I'll give it my rating too, but I think even in the thought of it, it's definitely more creative and has more nods than most NBA logos nowadays. So it's definitely in that area exceeds that, but then also it loses the purpose of the basketball logo.
Yeah.
And so I would probably give that a C+, going with that C theme there with the crosshairs. That gives me C+ vibes. It's not a bad logo. If I was giving it just a straight up logo rating, I'd probably give it an A-. But for a basketball logo, I would probably give that a C+.
Yeah. So good job, Clippers, for doing something, being innovative.
Yeah.
Implementing
needed.
your history, your story. I think it's awesome. I think everything you're doing is cool. You're making all the right moves as a brand. Again, artist subjective. My personal opinion is I don't love the logo as a basketball logo. But again, I think that's just, I could be in the minority on this one. Some people are going to love it. So I want to, tell the Clippers, if you're listening, good job. We want to hear from
you're
you,
listening,
though.
Clippers.
We know you're listening. All of you Clippers, Steve Ballmer, you're listening. No. I want to hear from you in the comments. Let us know what you think about the logo. Let us know how you think they did, and then maybe give us some of your favorite NBA logos, which you're going to hear from us here in just a second. And I wrote an entire article on this whole thing, gave a breakdown of what I think of the logo and all the things that we've talked about, getting into some more detail. You can find that article at azee.co, and you can read there several articles we have on these topics. And we have a blog there that I think you'll really, really enjoy. And if you're a fan of the No Ways Way Out podcast, please like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the things to make sure people know we're here and that we're getting the word out. Today's episode is sponsored by Delk Siding, one of our season sponsors. Are you in need of siding solutions for your new home, commercial building, or insurance repairs? Ooh, I think I might be. Look no further than Delk Siding Solutions. Their team of experts is dedicated to providing professional and reliable service to our clients or their clients in Lansing, Owasso, Flint, and surrounding areas. That's where all of our listeners are. Hopefully you have some siding solutions that you are in need of. Whether you're in need of full siding replacement, new build installation, or damage repair, they can help. Contact them today to schedule a consultation and estimate. We'll put their information in the comments. They will work closely with you to understand your needs and provide you with the best possible solutions to meet your budget and timeline. Let Delk Siding Solutions take care of all your siding needs. Thank you, Delk, for your support of the No Easy Way Out podcast, and go check them out. Well, before we sign off, we want to take a minute, and we are going to rank our all-time 5 favorite NBA logos.
Yeah.
And I think Mike and I have very different tastes, but we're about to find out. He has not seen my list, nor I have seen his. So we're going to go one at a time. We're going to give you, he's going to start with his from 5 down.
Yeah.
And then I'll give you mine. So, Micah, what is your number 5 greatest NBA logo of all time?
So before I start with number 5, I have one quick runner-up shout-out here.
Oh, you have an honorable mention?
An honorable mention here. I'm going to give an honorable mention to
Casey had like 18 honorable mentions when we did the podcast.
I'm going to give an honorable mention to the classic Utah Jazz jerseys. It's not necessarily the logo was great, but I think those jerseys are awesome with the mountains in the background. I know probably in its day it was corny and cheesy, but I love looking back on that, and I think it's a great
It's funny that
overall
what
design
I
as a
grew up
jersey.
with in the 90s and 80s, you see as retro.
Yeah.
It makes me feel really
it's
old.
very retro to me. But I love those jerseys, so that's honorable mention there.
All right.
And then, so my 5th favorite logo of all time, even though I hate saying this and I hate this team, this logo is just a classic. They're a very annoying team. I'm never probably ever going to love them, but the Boston Celtics logo is a classic. I do love, the little leprechaun, although he is so very annoying. Their logo is very classic, so I put that at my number 5.
I agree that the Boston Celtics logo is iconic, and I a few times almost put it into my 5, but as a diehard Pistons fan, I just couldn't do it, man.
That was a killer for me as well, but I feel like I had to do it just because.
But you weren't around for the
iconic.
Bad Boys, so you don't have the same angst towards the
Trust
Celtics
me,
that I do.
Yeah, I know.
But I will tell you, my number 5 is going to surprise you.
Okay.
Because I absolutely hated this logo when it came out. I despised it. But they brought it back last year as a retro, and I really think it looks cool. And that is the 96 to 2001 Detroit Pistons logo, the one that's on your hat.
That's on my hat.
I hated that logo because they changed from the red, white, and blue to the teal and red.
Yeah.
And what are we doing? But seeing it now as a throwback, I think it's cool. It is a logo that's doing a lot. I mean, it's a horse and tailpipes and words and flames and a basketball and red eyes but I just think as a Pistons fan, it's cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have that on my list as well, but I have it in probably a more interesting spot than you think.
All right, let's hear your number 4.
My number 4, this is probably a shock to you, is the 2001 to 2004 Memphis/Vancouver Grizzlies logo.
Yes,
I love the bear here. I love the art style on it. I love the aggression of him, clawing the basketball like that. I like the font they have and the Grizzlies on that, and I think it stands alone as well as its own word.
I got it.
And the jerseys that they had also were very, very sick.
See, I hated those. I got to assume that because of that, the Raptors, this dinosaur jersey is going to make it to your top 5, but I won't spoil anything. My number 4, and all of these I found after I did it, these all are from my era. Like when I was, so that's probably why.
I don't think I have any from. I don't
my,
have any
my
from
number
era,
4 is the 1992 to 2000 Phoenix Suns. I love the Suns logo. It was very basic before, just like a round sun, but they changed it. I loved the purple and the orange uniforms. I was a big Charles Barkley fan.
Yeah.
So it said something to me. So the Phoenix Suns.
I did have those on my honorable mention, but I chose not to put that in my top 5. Number 3 for me, also a super iconic logo. It's the only logo in the NBA team. It's the only NBA team logo that has never changed. I've had it since the beginning. I have the Chicago Bulls. I think it's just a classic, so iconic.
It's just Michael Jordan.
It's just associated with greatness, and it's just
even
simple.
Though they're a terrible franchise now.
Yeah.
You think of Michael Jordan when you see that logo. Number 3 for me, very cool retro logo, the 1975 to 1995 Seattle Supersonics.
Okay, yeah.
Just the cool skyline of their city, the green and yellow. It just makes me think 80s and 90s. Yep. Sean Kemp, Gary Payton. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's a good logo. All right, my number 2, I have the 1995 to 2008 Toronto Raptors logo.
With the dinosaur.
The classic raptor on it with the jersey.
Terrible.
With the basketball. And I think a huge reason for that is the Vince Carter jersey, the purple jersey with the raptor on the front. I think that's one of the best jerseys.
See, to me, the jerseys that just have the team name, like Pistons or Lakers, like that's what I don't like the cartoon dinosaur holding the basketball. But I know your age loves that. Yeah. It just, to me, is one of my least favorite.
I just feel like those have a lack of creativity, and I feel like with the sport, you can get more wild with it and more crazy. So.
Yeah, what we said earlier, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
Number 2 for me was your 3. Again, the only single franchise that never changed their logo, Chicago Bulls, for the same reasons. Yep. Iconic. I hated the Bulls growing up. I hated Michael Jordan, but loved his sneakers. Obviously, I'm a big sneaker fan today. Love MJ, Chicago Bulls logo, iconic, classic. There's like 3 things that I can draw from memory. Mm-hmm. One of those things is the Chicago Bulls logo.
I can tell from experience. Yes, that's very true.
When I'm doodling either a Ninja Turtle or the Chicago Bulls logo.
Yep. Okay, number 1. And to me, this is the best sports logo, I think, of all time. And you probably can't debate me on it. That is the 1996 to 2001 Detroit Pistons logo.
The one on your hat.
Right here.
The greatest of all time,
I think it's epic. I think everything from the art style of the horse to the flames in his mane to the Pistons logo with the tailpipes and the subtle like glare as if it was a car and the basketball underneath to the Detroit font and the lettering. I think it's the best logo of all time. I think it's awesome. I think those jerseys were some of the best jerseys of all time.
They were cool. Awesome. I hated them when they came out, but they are cool today. Yeah. I think probably what I liked them is seeing my sons appreciate what was, in my childhood, and then you guys all have jerseys and like them, and so I think that's probably why. And they did it, a little bit nicer touch. Nike did a good job giving them a little bit updates.
And the retros they've had of it since then have been really sweet as well.
Yeah. Well, my number 1 logo just goes back to the Bad Boys, and that is the 1979 to 1996 Detroit Pistons logo. Wow. It's literally a round ball with words that say Detroit Pistons. And when I think of it, I just think of why I fell in love with basketball. I think of the Bad Boys. Yeah. Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, all of those guys.
It's one of those
John
nostalgic
Sally,
logos.
James Edwards, Adrian Dantley, Chuck Daly. Back in the day, baby, the Pistons. Give us a shout out if you love the Bad Boys, baby. Detroit Pistons all day long. Detroit I love it. So that logo to me, even though it's not really that great of a logo, what it says when I see that logo, it just brings back all the nostalgia, all the things, all the memories. So,
and maybe that's the reason why I love the logo. This logo so much. I do remember as a kid having a jersey with this logo on it, and so maybe that was a little nostalgia for me.
I had an old authentic Grant Hill jersey just like that. I can't find it anywhere, but it was I
love it. You can't debate me on
it. Well, let him know in the comments if you can debate him on it. Give us your favorite logos. Let us know what you think of the Clippers rebrand. And remember, like, share, subscribe, follow, all the things. And Micah, thanks for taking some time today and sharing some of your knowledge of branding and of logo design. And thank you for sharing your 5 favorite logos with us. And thank you for tuning in. Remember, as my mother always says, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great, my friends, and don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.
Detroit basketball.